Eran. It's so great to have you with us today, and thank you for your time. Before we dive deeper into the different topics, it would be great if you can give us a quick overview so we understand the scale, the type of customers and tiers that you're facing, and the high-level customer success team that you're handling.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. My team has all functions related to handling our customers post the initial sale, meaning customer success, professional services, support, training, education, community, all of those functions. And we're serving thousands of customers and growing very rapidly year over year. We segment our business into 4 tiers, from smaller customers to very large enterprises. So we have commercial, mid-market, enterprise, and strategic accounts. And each one of those tiers has a slightly different customer lifecycle, different stakeholders, and different milestones throughout the customer journey.
Thank you. Just by the way, out of curiosity, why don't you have a self-serve tier that you can just insert your credit card and start working with Gong?
It's something that we keep looking at. As a company that started a completely new category, a lot of what we're doing is actually educating our customers into going deeper and understanding what are the big transformational challenges we can help them serve. As the category matures, this is definitely something that we'll be looking at, and we're investing a lot in making big parts of the customer journey self-service, but we feel that we would better serve our customers today with more of a human touch and a little bit more of just validating that we're a good fit for them and we can really make them successful.
Great, thank you. So you've mentioned the different tiers. You started from a lower tier and went up market, up to 4 tiers today, and the customer success obviously matures accordingly. Can you share some milestones to when and what to add in terms of KPIs and specialties?
Yeah, I think our journey is probably very similar to other companies that are growing. It just happened very quickly for us as the company grew very quickly. Like many teams at the beginning, we had a single customer success team that handled the entire customer lifecycle. They handled all customers of all sizes, and basically, we were looking at basic metrics like NDR, basically measuring the growth in those accounts, logo churn, and we actually track and still track very heavily NPS as a way to really gauge the level of excitement within our customer base. Over time, that evolved, right? As our customer base grew and we saw the differentiation of what smaller customers need and what larger customers need, we started segmenting the team into different tiers. And over time, we added specialized roles when we felt that, when the team grows, it's very hard to find people who are amazing at everything that customers need. And as customer expectations evolve and the product becomes more mature, you want to make sure that you're giving customers the best possible experience. So specialization around training or education or implementation of those customers, or technical account management that adds that layer of technical integration to those customers. These are all capabilities that our CS team has, but the level of depth and the level of training and onboarding that they get in order to really focus on that piece of the journey is something that is impossible to maintain at scale. So you have to start segmenting the team. In terms of KPIs, those evolve all the time as well. As we have more data about our customers and we know more what are the leading indicators to success. I think we, as many customer success organizations, really focus on NDR, meaning the growth in the book of business or in a cohort of customers year over year. But this is a lagging indicator, right? If you see that you're not where you want to be, it's a little bit too late to make changes, or changes would have a lag until you see the impact.
Exactly. I want to understand how you can be proactive without frequently calling to the customers and talking, but still understanding the potential of the customers, you want to invest more in. So what are you using?
So one thing that we did very early on, we invested a lot in building data infrastructure, meaning that we know exactly for every customer how many users they have, how often do they use the product, which parts of the product are they using, how frequently do they use it, etc. In the same way, we also have a lot of data around our own process, meaning when was the last time that we talked to this customer? Obviously, we use Gong to get a lot of that data, not just when we talk to them, but who did we talk to, what did we talk to them about? And today we use a lot of this data as leading indicators. So we're looking at 4 main KPIs today. There's a lot more behind the scenes, but really, if you think about the core KPIs for the team, one is NDR, one is license utilization. We want to make sure that customers who bought a certain amount of license are actually using all or almost all of those licenses. The third is a level of consistent usage of the platform. Something that we call stickiness, meaning how many users are using the platform on a regular basis. And the fourth piece is really still manager assessment of the work that CSMs are doing. We use a lot of data, but there's certain elements that are very hard to track with data alone. So these are the 4 main ones that we're using across the board.
So that relates really, if you can share with these KPIs how you build the compensation plans that obviously also evolves within time as the company scales. And also if there's something that you're doing ongoing and not just at the end of the year that can help motivate the team throughout the year.
Yeah, so first of all, we measure those KPIs consistently. It's not just something that we measure at one point in time. We also, by the way, a lot of our own internal process is measured too. So for example, conducting QBRs, at least up market, we know that those QBRs, if we have the right people and we conduct them at the right points in time, add a ton of value and are very indicative of the level of relationship and stickiness that we have within the account. So we measure that as well. So the way that we do that, we measure those KPIs and many others on a consistent basis, and CSMs get triggered if an account is not in a good place or some health scores decline. So this is like, they get like a call to action that they can respond to it immediately. From a compensation perspective, our CSMs are, they have around 80% of the base and 20% of variable. Our bonus plans are annual, but we do have quarterly metrics that we track. And at the end of the year, we look at that entire performance, and based on that and company performance, we determine the bonus structure for the CSMs.
Great, thank you. But you've mentioned one KPI, the significant QBRs, that I'm a bit curious about it. Yes, it's crucial, but how do you give the tools to the team to be engaged in these significant QBRs? How do you measure it? How do you give them the tools to show ROI? Even when I think of Gong, I think of usage based. So how do you translate it also to ROI and when to show it to the customers?
Yeah, so usage for us is just table stakes, right? It's just something that you need to have. Obviously, if no one uses the platform, then we have a problem. But the higher level ROI is very different. The discussions we have with our executive sponsors are around their core metrics. So if you're a VP of sales and you're hiring a lot of people this year, we want to show you that we can help you reduce people's onboarding time or get them to close more deals in the first couple of quarters since they joined. If you're launching a new product, we would like to show you that we can help you track whether your team is actually selling that product and are they using the right messaging and what types of objections you're getting back from the market. So this is the type of interaction that our CSMs have with our executive sponsors. And the QBR is really the opportunity for us to work with them, understand what are their strategic priorities, and show them the data that we've collected or we collected together with their team, and show them the progress that we've made together. And a lot of time, the way to engage with those customers, everyone is busy, is to send a little bit of a taste of what we will cover in the QBR to pique their interest. So if it's just something that, a busy sales executive were asking for an hour of their time just to show them how much people are using the platform, they're probably not going to attend, because they can watch that in a report or get a PDF and be done with that. But in order to get that higher level discussion that really is strategic to them, we have to elevate the ROI discussion to align with their strategic priorities.
And what are you doing with the lower tiers where you need to create this engagement but can't have these QBRs?
So either we just do it at a lesser frequency. So we may not have a quarterly business review, we may have 1 or 2 a year, or that the level of detail, obviously if you have a small team, as some of our smallest customers, you may have, a single sales team or 2 sales teams. The level of engagement is a little bit different. So the types of ROI and the level of engagement is adjusted to the level of the customer. A lot of times smaller customers also don't have, they don't need and they don't have the desire to talk to us every quarter at the same level of detail. So we adjust our customer lifecycle to their needs. And then a lot of times we just send them, information about their accounts in some automated way. And then if they have any questions or they want to go deeper, then we schedule a separate review. And this is something that we constantly change. Again, it's always good if a customer wants more of our time, it's actually a really good indication. So we usually don't tell customers that, we never tell customers we don't have time for this. But we try to pique their interest and make sure that they engage with us.
Thank you. So the title of the session is around fast scale, and one of the issues I was very curious about is how you've managed the hiring process and onboarding throughout this growth.
Yeah. So there are several aspects to this. One is being really clear on what is the profile of people that you'd like to hire. And as I mentioned earlier, that had changed significantly over time. If at the beginning we were looking for people who can do everything and really thrive on being kind of jacks of all trades, where people that love doing training and onboarding and troubleshooting and providing product feedback, and they really thrive in that level of environment. Over time, we kind of dialed the profile to be more and more specific. So if you have a strategic CSM, you're looking for a different profile than a commercial CSM. And a lot of our CSMs in commercial, for example, have been transferred from other functions in the company, which is a great source of candidates that already know the product, they know the customer, they're used to talking to customers, especially SDRs that are looking for a way to evolve their career, but don't necessarily want to go into a sales career. So we've had great success there. And as a company, also, we invest a lot in coaching people to their next role. So we actually have a lot of people that started in commercial CSMs and moved to mid-market and enterprise, et cetera, as they build their careers or have moved into leadership. So
do you give them the career path immediately when they join? Are they asking for it?
We don't commit to a career path for people who just join, because we need to see and they need to see. A lot of times these are early career people. They don't necessarily know where they want to be in 2 or 3 years. They know that they want to advance, but they don't always know where. What we do is communicate to them, and we actually show that, right? And they see that all around them, that people move between roles and people get promoted, or people that are curious about a role that is different from what they're doing today. We give them an opportunity to explore that and engage with another team and see if that's a good fit for them. So it's something that it's not enough just to tell people. You have to show them that this is what we're doing. We have around 20% of our team every year either gets promoted or moving to another role, right? So people see that all around them. What we do require people is a commitment that whatever role they're in now, they'll do it for the next, let's say, 18 months or so before really transitioning to another role. And we do want to see that people are successful in the role as they look into their next position. Another thing that is crucial to our success and our ability to hire a very large number of people and make them successful and have almost no attrition in the team is that we invested very early on in a very strong enablement process. And to this day, our enablement team is just incredible and is doing a great job. That allows us both to create a solid foundation for everyone who joins the company to have a common set of skills or knowledge that is shared across the board, and then have very specific CS, support, services paths. So people are really put on this path and have a lot of learning available to them, certifications. We have buddies that help them in their growth beyond the first few weeks.
Are you using any tools for this onboarding and learning processes and on the ongoing?
We have a learning management solution that we're using internally. We have a knowledge base that is very well maintained. Again, we took an approach that it's not, for example, for the knowledge base, it's not just a wiki that anyone could add any type of content. So there's some curation process and some quality process to make sure that the content is up to date, that it's written in a consistent way, that it's written in a clear way. It's very easy to search for it and find it. So there's a very big investment in that aspect. I talked to a lot of people joining my team and other people, and the number one thing that they're saying is that the onboarding experience that they get is just better than everything that they've seen before. And that's a huge part of our ability to get people to be successful is that level of investment. And I have to say, I'm seeing quite a lot of early stage companies that are planning for growth, and the investment in enablement and operation is sometimes lagging. And I think people tend to think that this is maybe luxury to be able to invest in that. But I actually think it's a strategic investment that allows you to scale, and it's very difficult to be successful without it.
Great, thank you. You've mentioned operations, and there's one issue that everyone say we were investing too little, too late, and that's like automation and the CS ops. Can you share, when did you start? If you had to do it again, when would you start? What are you doing on that part?
We started. We had investments in operations even before we had a dedicated team. But really building a team, I think we started the team almost 3 years ago. So probably when we had around 20 CSMs or 20 team members, or even less than that at the time. The role of this team is not just operating what we have today. It's a big part, but it's not the main part. It's actually building for what we think or what we expect to need in a year. And if you don't lay that foundation, then it's almost impossible to be able to scale. So investment in tools like we use Gainsight, but other systems could work as well. Deep integration of data into those systems, creating those automations, creating those metrics that help us measure the health of our customers and the success of our team. All of these are key in order for us to build a team that can respond quickly. And Gong is all about reality, right? We provide customers with the reality of their business, and it's a big part of who we are. If we don't know what's going on, you can't really react to it. You can't really plan ahead. And this is really the strategic goal behind this team. So I think we probably made that investment at the right time. I always think we could have made it earlier, but generally speaking, I think it was well timed from that perspective.
Is there anything that you took from investing in automation in the lower tiers that is now valuable also for the mid tiers, and you would recommend for other companies to do, even if serving higher ASPs?
Yeah, definitely. For us, and this may be different for different companies. What we're seeing constantly is that everything that we start at the lower or for smaller customers, very quickly you realize that the market is maturing, and the same process can be very helpful for larger and larger customers. Customers usually don't wake up in the morning and they want to talk to someone from one of their vendors. They want to get their work done. They want to make sure that they're well updated, that they know what they should be doing. So if we can build for them a solution that can self-serve, a lot of times this is the best experience for them. It's really, we don't really think about it only as a cost investment or a cost reduction investment. It really does provide a better customer experience. For us specifically, our largest customers have thousands and thousands of users. So we can't really be successful managing such large accounts if those accounts don't have a self-service way to use the platform, because we cannot talk to thousands of people. We cannot talk to hundreds of managers or dozens of directors within those customers. So in order to make them successful, we have to provide them those tools. And this goes from, you know, a help center or an academy where people can take courses, or creating bundles of education that we can give them so they can educate their own team, right? So a lot of it is enabling the customer to be self-sufficient. Different tiers of customers may use this information in a different way, but we're definitely seeing that investment pay off across the board.
Thank you. Another issue is the alignment that customer success has with the sales team and with the marketing team. Can you elaborate a bit on those commercial touch points with sales and with marketing?
Yeah. So maybe a word or two about kind of the journey and how we got to where we are today. Early days, customer success owned the entire commercial process with existing customers, meaning all of the renewals, the upsells, etc. At some point, we felt that, especially for the larger accounts, those, you know, upsells or commercial negotiations at renewal requires a deeper sales skill than, you know, customer success is tasked with, or that can, you know, we don't have that DNA, so to speak. And it's really hard to have a CSM that's great in providing value to customers, but it's also like a great salesperson. So what we have today and have had for 3 years or so, we have a customer account executive team. So that works in parallel and in conjunction with the CS team in our higher tiers. And our smaller customers, still our customer success team is handling commercials as well. Those teams work very closely together, and we actually try to make sure that we have small pods of 2 or 3 CSMs working with 2 or 3 account executives on the same book of business. So they're very much aligned. They have a very clear understanding of roles and responsibilities, and they work together in QBRs. And, you know, if there's risk in account or there's a big opportunity within those accounts, they strategize together and divide the work between them to make sure that we're driving the right results. And we've seen that to be a very successful model. It does require a lot of work, because once you have multiple people working with the account, clear definitions of roles and responsibilities and who owns different milestones throughout the customer life cycles are key. And this is something that we probably update and tweak every 6 to 12 months, just to make sure that, you know, we address what we're seeing in the market and make sure that we have the best process to provide the best results for our customers and for the business.
Thank you. And also the same question, but for the marketing aspect.
Yeah, I mean, we're working very closely with marketing in a variety of different ways. One, our customers are what we call raving fans. So they provide a huge amount of content, case studies, references, referrals that our marketing team is engaged with, right? So create.
Are you applying customer marketing?
Excuse me?
Are you applying customer marketing?
Yeah, we have a customer marketing
tiers?
team. Yeah, we have a customer marketing team that is working in conjunction with the CS team. And you may focus one quarter on a specific type of message or a specific type of case study that you want to work with the team on. So the team works together on those things. And again, as the product matures and we have launched new products, the customer marketing is working closely with the CS team and the sales team to educate existing customers with those new products, and in some ways build the same funnel that we have for new business, but for customers who may want to expand or use Gong for additional use cases or additional teams within their business. So we have a very close relationship with them, as well as, we have initiatives like a community that we've launched this year. And obviously this is something that the marketing team is very well involved in, to create that level of engagement with customers, get their feedback. The product team is very involved in those activities as well. So we're working very well cross-functionally.
Eran, when we were preparing for this session, you've talked about the customer-focused company culture that you have it in Gong and how it's not just the responsibility of the customer success team. Can you share a little bit about that? It's something that is so important for a lot of companies. A lot of CEOs are talking about it, but it's much harder to actually implement that.
I think this is a tricky one, and it's not just about being customer-centric. I think a lot of companies love saying that, but it's much harder to actually do. I think one thing that we did really well at Gong is that when we defined what are the things that make us special, we looked at things that were already there in some ways, right? So I think a lot of the DNA that you build in a company starts almost from day one. So if having a very customer-centric type of company is important to you, it has to guide the founders and the early team from day one. It's not just something that you can say and hope that would happen later on. And this is where sometimes customer success teams feel like they're on an island where they're trying to bring the voice of the customer, they're trying to bring that to the rest of the company, and it's not really working. I think the key is to actually make sure that you're making decisions that show your commitment to it. So if you sold, I'll just give you a few examples. If you've sold a product to a customer and you realize that this is not a good fit, they're not going to be successful, it should be a very easy decision to say, this is not a good fit for this customer. We cannot make them successful. Then it should be a very easy decision to have a conversation with the customer and either find something else that they can do with the product. And if they can't do it, then just let them go. And I see a lot of companies struggle with that. It's very easy to say, but when the rubber hits the road and you need to make a decision, those decisions are not being made. And when that breaks, the rest of the company gets the message and says like, okay, we're saying that, but we're not actually doing that. That's just one example, but you want to make sure the customers have a great experience. It starts with the first impression that they get on the website. It starts with the first conversation they may have with an SDR, the level of service they get from your support team, whether your sales team is actually interested in making them successful and going deeper and understanding their business. By the time the customers get to customer success, they already formed an opinion about your company. And if their interaction and experience so far has not been good, it's really difficult to change that. This is your brand. So my advice to early stage company is make sure that you lay this foundation very early on. Make sure that you make decisions, the product level, go to market level, how you price, how you handle, churn, all of those discussions and all of those milestones along the way, you have to show your team that you really mean it. And if you do that well, you still need to reinforce that. It's a much easier to scale and make sure that you have that consistent experience where leadership shows that they're committed to it. Other than that, you can put the posters on the wall and say what you believe in, but if people don't see that this is really what you do day in and day out, it's just not going to work.
Thank you, Eran. So thank you again for this insightful session, and it's really amazing to see the scale and growth that Gong has achieved in just a few years. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.